Yehi Ratzon, Parashat Bechoktai, the ending of Sefer Vayikra, the Limon Shebel Refuat Kol HaCholim, Uvetocham Tanya Bat Yehuda Maglit, Yosef Yair ben Avi Bachava, Harav Sivan ben Sima, Betoch Kol Shar Cholei Yisrael. We're ending Sefer Vayikra. We're in Lag BaOmer, and we have three words from the beginning of the Parsha that I want to use to understand Lag BaOmer differently and to have a different understanding of Sefer Vayikra. The three words are the first three words of our Parsha that open up with the words Im Bechukotai Telechu, which are translated very simply, if in my laws you walk. A lot of commentaries struggle with the link between the word chukim and telechu. Chukim are something that are an intellectual pursuit which is done with the brain. So you could use the verb after of tishme'u. Im bechukotai tishme'u. Im bechukotai tilmedu. Im bechukotai tirtsu. Something that's dealing with the head, with the brain. What does it mean that you link im bechukotai telechu, you'll walk? So the Sfat Emet in the year 1871 tries to understand what is the relationship between the chukim and the halichot. What's the link between what we think and what we walk? And says the Sfat Emet something incredible, according to the Midrash, that at the end of the day, the real machshavot of a person, the real will of a person, is not measured by what they learn, but by where they go. So says the Sfat Emet in the year 1871, what we're learning is that you'll learn more about yourself from where you go than from what you do, or from what you learn, or from what you think, or from what you want. A lot of people know that they want happiness. A lot of people know that they want to be immersed to their families. A lot of people know that they want to have a relationship with Hashem. But says the Sfat Emet, that's not the real you. The real you is measured not by what you want, but by where you are. If a person finds themselves constantly in bed watching Netflix, and they say, what I really want is to be productive, says the Sfat Emet, let's go back to the words, Im bechukotai telechu. What your real will is where you are. Where do you walk to? Where do you go to? Where do you find yourself? What atmosphere are you immersing yourself in? You can say that you love your family, but are you with them shows what you really want. Because the halicha is the ratzon. Where you walk is who you are. And I think that when we go in, and this might be a little bit of a difficult idea to understand, into Lag BaOmer, we all know that for the first 33 days, we're mourning over the death of the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva. And the obvious thing that we have to think about is, how could such leaders, such scholars, fall into such a deep pit? How can they end up in such a dark place? The 24,000 leaders of the Jewish people are gone. And one of the chidushim that we were thinking about was this idea of Rabbi Akiva teaching his students, Ze klal gadol b'Torah, ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. It sounds like a beautiful sentence, but there's something maybe a little bit complicated in the sentence. When Rabbi Akiva was teaching his students, he was teaching them about klal gadol, the big rules, the big theories. They were speaking about amazing concepts. And sometimes the greater you think, the more removed you become from the little details. The greater you speak and the higher you learn, sometimes the more removed you become from washing dishes. You ask yourself sometimes, people that are dealing with the biggest questions in the world, they're not dealing with the details. The more they deal with the chukim, the more they become removed from the raglaim. And one of the things that I think I learned most in my 5 years learning in Otniel was at lunch. That at every single lunch, I would see Rav Re'em walk over to the garbage. And every single day, take the garbage and walk. And what Rav M was teaching is that sometimes what happens is that the more we get involved in Klal Gadol, naturally we remove ourselves from the details. We don't have time for it. It's frustrating. It's annoying. I don't want to think about the miniature things, the annoying things, the small details. And comes Rav M to teach me and all the Chaver and Otniel that you've just learned Gemara for 5 hours. It's a dangerous experience. You've just went to this, Meron experience of Klal Gadol, and you can almost feel like you have no feet left. That you don't even feel your feet anymore. You're almost as floating in the air. Comes the first 33 days and says, don't get lost in the Klal Gadol. Yes, it's important to know the Klal Gadol, but it's important to understand that what could destroy a person is that they're removed from the garbage, that they're removed from the details, that the real Im Bechoktai is asking you a question: are you excited for Telechu? Are you searching for Telechu? Do you realize that the Telechu is what enables the big vision to exist, to be alive, to be real? And I think that this is Sefer Vayikra. Sefer Vayikra is a book that taught us about Telechu. It taught us about what centimeter do you do the shchita, and what centimeter do you throw the blood, and to what centimeter do you mekabel the blood. And it dealt so much with the details. And so often we say to ourselves, Sefer Vayikra, who wants to write a book about Sefer Vayikra? Everyone's writing a book about Sefer Breshit. But maybe the existence of Sefer Breshit is measured by our involvement in Sefer Vayikra. If we can't fall in love with the Telechu, then all of the Chukim are going to fall apart. And my bracha as we walk into the next part of Sfirat Omer is to realize that in order to reach the mountain, we need to fall in love with the valley. If we can't enjoy the valley, then the mountain removes us. But if you love the valley, then the mountain that you'll reach on Shavuot will force you to look back in the valley and see the beauty of it, the beauty of the valley, the beauty of the garbage, the beauty of the Telechu. And we should have that bracha to fall in love with the Halicha and not just with the ideas and the Klal Gadol. Shabbat Shalom.